Monkey with a spanner here. Now, I'm talking about upper body armour today. These are the breast and back plates. So, they're both fairly similar, to be fair, and I believe they're both made by Schuch-des. We can see the maker's mark just here. And to start with this, it goes on your body, obviously. Now, generally speaking, they all hinge on the same side. Part of the reason for that is if you're in horse combat or indeed foot combat, most of the powerful strikes are going to come onto this side of your body because the majority of people are right-handed. If they're not right-handed, they're working for devil, and that makes them a witch, and that's not good socially. So, nothing to do with right or wrong, it's just socially a bad idea. So, this side tends to be the strong one, so that has the hinge on it. Both cases, the hinge is on there. The other side has a strap holding the thing together with a buckle. So, buckles together very simply. Some have a little pin, very much like the pin on the greave. These particular ones don't. So all we have to do is open up that buckle. It's held together by the straps on the top. I'll do both of them. And they both open up. Slot your man into it. Your shiny man gets slotted in. Close it up around them. Do up the straps. Now you'll be able to see that the back is not articulated, even though it looks as though it should be. The same applies here. It looks articulated, but it's not. There are all the rivet marks in here. You can still see all the rivets inside, but they don't move. They're not sliding rivets, so it's not articulation, it's not a hinge. In fact, they're riveted together on the inside, in the centre, thereby preventing them from hinging. So this lamination effect on the back is pretty much decorative. It looks cool. Armour is not cheap, so if you could have the cool armour or the boring armour, which one would you choose? I'm not getting into the argument. Don't push your politics on me, Daddy-o. Let's go around to the front. Now, like I said, this is only the top part of the body armour. So this is your breastplate and backplate. Now, humans have the annoying habit of having the need to bend, especially if you're fighting. One of those places you need to bend is at the waist. So this manoeuvre, although seemingly very simple, is prohibited if your breastplate comes all the way down to here. Suddenly you can't bend because you have steel pressing against your body. So this breast and back should really only come down as far as your rib cage. So it's essentially a metal rib cage. So you don't want to think of this covering your whole top half. It's just ribs on the outside. It's an exoskeleton. It comes up over the shoulders, so some of the weight is taken onto the metal on your shoulders. Both instances, the front stays a little bit more open. But once again, we have a very heavy turned edge on here. So this very heavy turned edge, same on these ones as well, and up where the throat is. This one is slightly heavier than this one, but there's not an awful lot in it, to be fair. And again, they come from the outside, turning forward. Same reason, to catch a blade that comes in here, takes the energy out. Even if it carries on, it's lost a lot of its energy. But I can hear what you're saying. You're saying, what are these funny looking straps for? Well, that's for the next bit of the armour, the placket that goes on lower. There's also one on the back for the same reason. We'll show you that in a second. This is fairly fancy, but this just a little bit fancier. The scallops have file marks further along, thereby taking more time to do, making it more expensive. Also, on the rivets here, rivet heads have been stamped on here, and we have on the straps a washer that has a flower petal arrangement on it. Very often the person who has the armour will have some motto which is personal to them. So this pointille work is personal to this particular owner, which is pink in this case, and I'm not going to share it with you, but it's a joke. There is one curious piece about both of these, and that's these funny looking staples along here. And they had to hold a particular piece of equipment for jousting. I refer to it as a knight handle, so you can grab hold of the knight and put them where you want them to be. Again, I don't refer to them as knights if I'm honest with you. Shiny person. And it's quite simply a bracket like this. They both have them, slightly different. Pink's has got a squirrel on it, but we haven't thought the squirrel thing when this one was made, so this is older. But squirrel, why have you got a squirrel on there, Pink?
Because reasons.
Because of reasons. Good. I think it's to do with the effigies, isn't it? Very often the effigies have a void in the marble, which obviously makes the marble weak, so the sculptor would very often put in a squirrel just for their personal amusement. So you liked that one, didn't you? You liked that one. Which one was it? It was the effigy in Temple, wasn't it?
Gilbert Marshall.
Gilbert Marshall in Temple, and
yeah.
he has on his effigy squirrels. You liked the squirrels, so he's gone for squirrels. This one, very fancy, but no squirrel. But all they do with the holes that you can see on the bracket itself, they go onto those staples. Now, it is a bit of a struggle to get them on sometimes. Knight handle going on. The pin. Super. So this now, we used to call it, in the olden days, we used to call it a lance rest. But that's misleading. What that implies is that this takes the weight of your lance, but that's not the case. What it's doing is actually an arrest, an arrêt de cuirasse, so a stopper on your cuirasse. And what's going to happen when you hit your opponent, your target, the force of that impact transferred through the lance, through a graper, will transfer to this little bar, so you're actually using your body power to strike your opponent, not just your arm power, and therefore the weakest part being your grip. Because if you haven't got a good grip, it's just going to push straight through your hand or tear your shoulder off. But with this, you're actually striking with the whole of your body. So this arrêt de cuirasse is a way to hit your opponent a lot harder. And it works. Call that one that one.
Did you hear about the accident on the A14 yesterday? There was a lorry fire, and the lorry was carrying bras. You can imagine the mileage that came out of this.
The A14 had a lorry full of bras catch fire.
Yeah.
That must have been some hot underwear.
Literally what I said. Literally.
What you looking at, Pink?